My name is Layla. Yesterday, a can of chickpeas fell out of my pantry, so now I have this fun wound on my head. I'm hoping it doesn't scar, but if it does, that's just something we'll deal with, and I'll be one physical attribute closer to Inigo Montoya and Harry Potter, and that's okay with me. I'm here to read just one piece, and it's a piece I wrote under the instruction of one of my two wonderful creative writing professors this quarter, Dina Pione, and it's a string of vignettes with an evolving image that for me is about redemption and illusion and breaches of trust, but for you might just be about bathtubs and daddy long legs. But I'm really grateful for this chance to be here. So I don't think there are any explicit content warnings in this, unless you're scared of spiders, in which case, content warning spiders. Okay. In my family home, we do not have bathtubs. We did not have a bathtub in the craftsman house with the broken gate and the piano in the basement. We do not have a bathtub in the Spanish house with rugs on every wall and doorknobs blue-green from oxidation. If we had a bathtub in some past house, I did not know of it. My dad simply did not approve of baths. Why would you want to soak in your own filth? He said. Take a shower, move on. We take a trip down the coast and up the hill every summer to see my only pair of grandparents. The other ones existed once but are far away and not a pair, and perhaps they never were, who live with big dogs in the front lawn and a black cat named Iculus and 3 bathtubs. One of the bathtubs could fit 4 of me inside of it, maybe even today if I curled up small enough. It's next to the doggy door with a tunnel, which I used to crawl through to chase the cat and emerge covered in dirt almost as black as his coat. My mother would tell me to stop terrorizing Iculus and put me into the smaller bath behind the red curtain that used to belong to her back when she was my age and allowed to take baths. In the corner of the ceiling, above where my head rested, I could watch a spider cling to the tile walls by a thin strand of web, safe from the rushing water lapping up against my dirty skin, both of us bathed in red from the light that permeated through the curtain. I saw him almost every year. The third bathtub is harder to find. The third bathtub is tucked away in the room of the house no one goes in, where they quartered my great-grandfather after he was unbound from assisted living, but before he was dead. The third bathroom was dirty. No one goes in there to clean it, to smell my great-grandfather's ghost, to see who might be hiding in the tub. Not even a spider waits witness on the wall. The third bathtub was an irreproachable venue for all things unspoken, unsavory, sexual, sinister, or all and more at once. Far too much at once. If my mother were home on July 7th, 2016, she would have filled the small bath with her tears so I could bathe in it. If my great-grandfather were alive on July 7th, 2016, perhaps I would have never even seen the inside of the third bathtub. If my father were around on July 7th, 2016, he would have told me to stop soaking in my own filth. Even after I scrubbed away all the red, the third bathroom will always be dirty. My first boyfriend was a swimmer. He spends his most significant hours with his head underwater. My first boyfriend was fast and he could spend hours chasing a line to go nowhere on the pool floor. My first boyfriend hated baths. Why would I be in water if I'm not going to swim? He'd ask. What's the point of just sitting there, useless and barely able to move? If you did that in a real pool, you'd drown. I must have been very young when I first met a daddy long legs. We were at a camp by a lake and I wasn't old enough to sit in my mother's lap on a boat without a life vest. My brother wasn't even old enough to stand up. We sat with our stubby legs splayed against the dark wood, thighs bare against the grain, before we knew to worry about getting splinters in our soft skin. In this time before splinters, we feared nothing, not even the spider that climbed up from the slats and over our toe beans ticklish. It was a little tickle monster. I picked up the tickle monster and put it in my mouth, and by the time my mom told me to spit it out, it was gone. When she tells me this story, I'm older and a little more fearful of spiders. I didn't die? I ask. Don't worry, she says. Daddy Longlegs won't hurt you. When I've been 15 for a month, I'm in the third bathroom with the door locked, and I think I might not be able to breathe. But it's not because of my great-grandfather's ghost or the buildup of dust on every surface or even the asthmatics on both limbs of my family tree. I am choking on my breath and trying to wipe the blood from my splayed thighs and wash it down the drain without staining all the white acrylic of the third bathtub and what to do with all the red on the white towels. But mostly I'm worried about someone coming home, walking through the front lawn with the 2 dogs and through the front door and yelling, I'm home, before saying, oh, I wonder where Layla and her boyfriend have gone. Perhaps they're in the garden or the pool or the tunnel behind the doggy door or anywhere besides Great-Grandpa Noel's room, because why would they be down there? But come to think of it, that's the last place we haven't checked. Why don't we go see what they're up to? And then they'd see the blood on the bed and the swimmer banging on the bathroom door, and if that broke open, they'd see me. And what would I do then? Besides bathe myself, frankly. besides sit useless and barely able to move, besides soak in my own filth, besides slip under the water long enough that my vision of the spider in the corner becomes blurry until I'm not sure whether it's there at all. My mother always tells me not to kill spiders. They're just insects, and they're very important to the ecosystem. Daddy longlegs eat insects and other spiders, but they won't eat you. My mother is very trusting of spiders and boys. I was too. She tells me about sex before I meet my first boyfriend. She tells me all about her first time when she was 18 and almost graduated and had a loving boyfriend who wrote her poetry and drew flowers on love notes with song lyrics just for her. He cooked her lobster as red as roses, and they ate it on a white tablecloth at his kitchen table. He was still wearing his apron, and they were so lost in each other's eyes that even the candle and roses between them seemed to disappear to the immateriality of their peripheral vision. And then, she tells me with flushed cheeks, they made love, and it was a full moon, and they were the only stars in the whole sky that night. I wondered often whether the daddy longlegs died with much pain when I swallowed it whole. How long was it alive in my stomach? Was it scared? If I really tried, could it crawl up my throat and escape the inside of my body, re-enter the natural world relatively unscathed by a bath of stomach acid? I dreamt of the spindly legs climbing up from the gap between my sleeping lips and emerging wounded, covered in red and spit, limping on 4 of its legs but still moving. Good, I thought. It was easier to believe that she had a way out, that she didn't drown inside of me, and that she still had a chance to fight. Thank you.